Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. So I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes I really think the biggest problem that most people have with velocity banking is they overcomplicate it in their minds, right? But I'm just going to show you how the real implementation of the strategy pretty much practically requires no effort, right? Just one click needed. So I took a screenshot, I doctored it a little bit of what I would do when I'm doing velocity banking. Again, money comes into my checking account, then I dump all of my money from my checking account into the line of credit, right? And then I just click continue. And then once I click continue, bam, it's done, right? So how long did that take? Now, unfortunately, YouTube doesn't really like videos that are like 5 seconds unless you're doing a short, right? But if I just click continue, that's it. That's it. Now, the actual understanding of the strategy itself and the game plan is a little bit more involved, which is why we sell courses, we make videos, and do all that. And we actually do a lot more than velocity banking because believe it or not, there's a life after velocity banking because once you have your debts paid off, then what are you going to do? Like, right? What are you going to do? Are you going to invest? Or do you just have that money in a savings account? We talk about real estate investing a lot because that's kind of simply because I don't understand stocks. And again, I have a friend who actually, I think she said she was going to retire off of stocks, is doing so well, and then she decided to buy investment property and hates it. Triplex in a big city. I don't know why. Okay, so enough of that tangent. Now, if you look at your home equity line of credit or your main line of credit that you're using for velocity banking, at the end of the month, you should get a statement similar to this, right? Again, dump all of your money into the line of credit, right? So this is the minus because you're dumping all of your money and it's a balance, right? You take out your expenses, there's going to be a little bit of finance charge based on the average daily balance, and then the new balance is going to be the next month, right? So that's essentially how that's going to work. Okay, so the real implementation of the strategy itself is just one click, and then everything else is mainly for your understanding. So when people think, "Oh my goodness, I need a spreadsheet to do this," no, you don't. You just need a line of credit, right? Your line of credit is your main operating account. Now, just to kind of top off this video to end it off, yes, I will do a demo. I will do a demo for you all. And actually, let me open up one of my spreadsheets right here. So I don't know if we see this correctly. So let's just do a quick review of velocity banking, right? So all velocity banking is using lines of credit as your main tool to pay off debt. Then we assume two things. Number one, same exact income. And here's the thing: if you're broke, right? There are high income people who are broke, and you only have $355 in savings. A lot of you would freak out, right? And a lot of you might be saying, "Oh my goodness, if I made 10 grand of debt, like I would never be broke." Tell that to the people who are making this money and are broke, right? So I get it that this 10 grand a month is not realistic, and you are not there yet, but one day you might reach it, right? You might reach it. Like, it's hard, but it's not, right? You just have to kind of do a bunch of things and see what sticks and figure out a way to make money. And sometimes, like, it's kind of weird that if you actually work a harder job, a job that requires a lot of effort, you actually end up making less money. I'm thinking about working in like Amazon or a fast food restaurant, right? If you work in one of those warehouses or UPS, you probably be worked to the bone and not well maybe UPS you might actually make a lot because they I saw that they actually negotiated for a really high pay. But I'm just saying in general, right? I'm just saying in general, if you work really hard, that ultimately lends up to you not making a lot of money, which is kind of sad, right? Because I really wanted to believe that because that's what I was told when I was a kid. But back to my point is that yeah, I get that 10 grand is not going to be realistic. But here's the thing about velocity banking. It's not an income generation strategy, it's a cash flow debt management strategy. So you want to make sure that when you're growing your income and you have some debt that you're able to pay it off quickly. Okay? And how do we do that? Well, let's just assume that we have these insane credit card debt, 167,000, 10 credit cards, right? So, what we're going to do is we're just going to simply copy and paste our expenses here, right? Okay. And then what we're going to do is assume that we have some access to a line of credit. right? Home equity line of credit. And because if you've never heard of what a home equity line of credit is, think of it as like a credit card based on the value of your house, actually based on something called home equity. But let's just assume that we have access to $200,000, right? It's like a credit card based on your the value of your home. And I know what some of you are thinking. Oh my gosh, who has $200,000 laying around? And this is why it's important to become educated and learn about credit before you actually need it. Because guess what? Banks don't lend money to people who need it, right? And the problem is that people are looking for these strategies when they're at this situation right here, and then wondering, oh, I'm broke. Why can't I get a line of credit? Because they only lend it to you when you don't need it, right? And here's the other thing too: if you were a lender and you're broke, would you lend to yourself? Probably not, right? But people don't, when they're the borrower, they get more emotional. When you're a lender, you become much more precise and mathematical. It's all just a calculated decision. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do this. So what we're going to do is just simply do a debt transfer. So let's move all of these credit cards, these 10 credit cards, to here, right? And I think if I look here, it's 167,000 of credit card debt. Yeah, 167,000. Okay, 167,000. All right, and let's go ahead and just do some simple calculations. Now, once we move that debt, guess what happens here? Because we just simply did a debt transfer into that line of credit, all of our cash flow increases because these all turn to zero, right? Simply by moving the debt. Okay, you simply move the debt, and look how this wide difference between expenses from 9,000 to 4,000. How do we do that, right? Maybe Microsoft Excel is scamming me because to make me believe that this velocity banking thing works, right? But here's a crazy thing: we're gonna have zero savings, so people might freak out about this. Oh my goodness, I'm going from 355 to zero. My mind's gonna explode. But we're gonna use our cash flow to increase our debt, right? And what's our cash flow? Income minus expenses, $5,701. So we went from 355 to 5,700 without doing anything. Can you believe that? I didn't need me to make more income. I just simply switched what's my main operating account, which is this line of credit right here. And all we gotta do is paycheck in, expenses out. Paycheck in, expenses out. Just take a look at this picture. Paycheck in, expenses out. Then you get your next balance. Okay? Add the interest, you get your next balance. Now we're gonna do that. So now what we're gonna do is just do a few calculations. All right, so a few calculations. And now to get the next balance, it's just the previous month's balance plus the previous month's interest minus that cash flow number, which is 5701.35. Okay, and then to calculate the interest, you get the average daily balance. You could take this average function right here, take these two numbers, and then you multiply it by the interest rate, which is 10%, and divide it by 12. Okay, so yes, we do have to pay some money for using this line of credit. You can see right here, this is what the periodic finance charges are, right? So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do this and copy and paste these formulas, and then we're going to see when this is all paid off, right? So let's go ahead and do that. And it should just only be a couple more months. And then as you can see here, in 34 months, this is all paid off. 34 months, isn't that crazy? 34 months. 34 months. All right. So how much is 34 months? How many years is that? So 34 divided by 12. Oh my goodness, that's under 3 years. So under 3 years, we paid off $167,000. Mind blown. I need to get one of those mind blown emojis right here and put that here. But in 2.8 years, we just paid it off. You see, credit card debt is the debt that people freak out about because most people just look at the interest rate. They just look at the interest rate, go, oh my God, it's like, oh, my mind's going to explode. And then they just recklessly spend on credit card debt. But I'll tell you what, the real wealth killer here is this one right here, because most Americans simply overpay for homes. And that's what we want to not do as real estate investors. And so if you're interested in investing in real estate, one of the things you got to do is buy at a discount, right? If you got a $300,000 home, you got to buy it for like $200,000. That's the easy way to wealth, cheat code to wealth, all right? But so the whole point of this video is to show you, yes, it's great if you have a spreadsheet. I could calculate my payoff, right? But the most important thing is to understand that the implementation of the strategy is just one click on your bank's website, right? And then once you get your statement, income in, expenses out, rinse and repeat over and over again, boom, right? All right. Well, this is Crane Atlanta Mentorship. If you're interested in joining our group, go ahead and click the Google form link below. Other than that, have a great day, and we'll speak next time.